evening, everyone. This is Melissa Thomas with Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Friday, October 2nd, 2020. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. As always, we'd like to extend an invitation to any business owners or companies looking to advertise. Florida National News has a platform with 5 different shows to choose from and 2 great websites. So if you're interested, just shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com to find out more. We'd love to get started with you. And as always, guys, we'd like to start the evening news rundown with the latest COVID-19 reports globally here in the United States and in the state of Florida. So globally, the World Health Organization is reporting 34.1 million confirmed cases and over 1,016,000 confirmed deaths. Here in the United States, Johns Hopkins University is reporting now 7.3 million confirmed cases and over 208,000 confirmed deaths. Here in the state of Florida, the Department of Health is reporting over 711,000 confirmed cases and over 14,500 confirmed deaths. Now, jumping into our other stories, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to start with the U.S. story today because the world story actually ties into the U.S. story, that being the most obvious, U.S. President Donald Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump testing positive for COVID-19. President Trump announced that via tweet. Overnight, he tweeted at 12:54 a.m., quote, "Tonight at Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together." And of course, his presidential opponent wanted to make sure to send him some well wishes. So former Vice President Joe Biden also tweeted, "Jill and I send our thoughts to President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump for a swift recovery. We will continue to pray for the health and safety of the president and his family." As you can see there, former Vice President Joe Biden made sure to tweet that out earlier this morning at 8:45 a.m. Now, this is coming on the heels of the announcement that Hope Hicks, who is one of President Trump's closest aides, also tested positive for COVID-19 after accompanying him to some recent rallies, including one in Minnesota. Now, this brings us to the world story, in that world leaders all over are now wishing the president and the first lady well and a speedy recovery as well. The first world leaders to do it were India and Pakistan Prime Ministers Narendra Modi and Imran Khan, respectively. Prime Minister Modi tweeted early, quote, "Wishing my friend at POTUS, at Real Donald Trump, and at FLOTUS a quick recovery and good health." Prime Minister Imran Khan of Pakistan also wished the president and the first lady a, quote, "speedy recovery." Those sentiments were echoed around the world, including by UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who also went ahead and sent his well wishes via tweet. He said, quote, "My best wishes to President Trump and the First Lady. Hope they both have a speedy recovery from coronavirus." Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted as well, tweeting, quote, "Like millions of Israelis, Sarah and I are thinking of President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump and wish our friends a full and speedy recovery." They weren't the only ones that wished the president and the first lady well. Of course, Prime Minister Boris Johnson knows all too well the throes of COVID-19, having suffered it so severely that he ended up in ICU prior to his recovery. But other world leaders that wish them well include German Chancellor Angela Merkel and the World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom. They also expressed their hopes for a full recovery for both of them, while a French government spokesperson said, quote, that the diagnosis demonstrates that the virus spares no one, including those who have shown skepticism. And last but certainly not least, Russian President Vladimir Putin. He does not tweet, but according to the Kremlin press service, they reported that President Putin sent a telegram to President Trump stating, quote, "I am confident that your vital energy, high spirits, and optimism will help you, quote, cope with the dangerous virus." This is according to the press service. They quoted President Putin as sending those well wishes to President Trump. And we'll continue to keep you updated as well. So be sure to tune in to Florida National News and check our website for all updates. In the meantime, jumping to the state of Florida, even though Florida has moved to phase 3, according to Governor DeSantis' executive order from last Friday, Publix is still remaining cautious. They have not changed any of their policies, according to a spokesperson there. Shoppers will still have to wear masks while shopping for groceries at their supermarkets. The clarification comes amid confusion sparked by Governor DeSantis' reopening announcement last week, because the government's order allows restaurants to reopen without capacity restrictions and says all businesses have the right to get back to work, and says that local governments are prohibited from collecting fines from individuals who don't comply with local mask ordinances. However, the order does not nullify locally passed mask ordinances, which can only be repealed by the local governments that pass them or with the expiration of a local state of emergency. Businesses still have the right to ensure customers follow mask orders and can still be fined by local governments for not enforcing them, since the Phase 3 order only suspends fines for individuals, not businesses. So just to clarify that difference, just in case it's a little bit confusing for you, the executive order from Governor DeSantis protects individuals from having to pay any fines, but businesses are not protected from those fines. So as a result, they're continuing to enforce their mask mandates. So if you're out and about, just stay on the safe side and wear your mask. We here at Florida National News, we always like to exhort you to wear your mask, practice safe social distancing, and to wash your hands, sanitize them as often as possible, and wear gloves if necessary. And just very lastly, with Publix, they initially began requiring customers to wear face masks back in July. However, they discontinued the use of their one-way aisles at the end of August. Again, continue to stay tuned here for the National News for more updates. In the meantime, we're going to take our first commercial break, and we're going to come back with some more stories for you. Stay tuned.
At Duke Energy, we deliver electricity and so much more, like free home energy assessments, rebates for energy-saving improvements, payment options to help you better manage your budget, and even bill credits for helping the community use less energy. So no matter what you're doing, we can help you make better energy choices every day. It's just another way we bring power to your life. How much can you save?
Welcome back to the Evening News Rundown. In our next U.S. story, you guys have been following the deadly California fires. And so far today, as of Wednesday, roughly 30 lives have been claimed by those deadly fires, according to reports, including another death that took place on Wednesday. The most recent death was that of a man who was badly burned and evacuated from the Zog fire in Shasta County the day that the fire started. That was back on Sunday, according to Shasta County Sheriff Eric McGreeny. Now, 4 people have been killed in the Zog fire, which has burned more than 55,000 acres and destroyed nearly 150 structures, according to fire officials. It was 9% contained on Wednesday evening. Now, there are 26 major fires or clusters of fires known as complexes burning across California, with more than 17,000 firefighters working to gain ground on those blazes, according to the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, or CAL FIRE for short. Now, one of these is the Glass Fire, which erupted on Sunday in Napa and Sonoma counties. You guys heard us report that for you guys earlier in the week. And this is north of San Francisco. This particular fire has burned more than 51,200 acres and destroyed more than 140 homes, according to CAL FIRE. It was 2% contained on Wednesday night. Around 26,200 structures that were threatened by the Glass Fire on Wednesday evening, according to the agency. And between the two fires, around 48,000 people have been evacuated, according to CAL FIRE. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that as well. Now, jumping back here to the state of Florida, Universal Orlando Parks and Resorts has decided to move forward in the next step of their process to help assist in the affordable housing crisis taking place here in Orange County. We here at Florida National News had covered the live press conference when it was announced several months ago prior to the COVID-19 outbreak that Universal had set aside a plot of land, specifically assigned by the Housing for All Task Force, that is going to be close to I-Drive. And as you guys can see in the map, the yellow plots of land are areas of property owned by Universal, and the blue area is the Orange County Convention Center, so that is right by I-Drive. So the yellow plots of land in that area will be designated for the affordable housing initiative that Universal is working on. Now, the property is set to house roughly 1,000 high-quality apartments in that location. And right now, the next step that Universal has taken is they are now launching their nationwide search for a developer with the right vision and experience to design, build, and manage that affordable housing community, which is going to be on a 20-acre site. that the company has pledged to a not-for-profit entity, and it was going to be set up specifically for that affordable housing initiative and will be affordable housing in perpetuity. So the property values are not supposed to go up. It's not supposed to become, luxury property. Universal will manage the developer selection process and will also work to create the development agreement with Orange County. The goal is to break ground in 2022. Now, Universal has created its own Housing for Tomorrow initiative with key Universal team members and community leaders to oversee the process. And this also includes members from the Housing for All task force. So it includes the task force chair, Terry Prather. So it's good news that he is also involved in overseeing this. It also includes Maria Triscari, who is the president of the International Drive Resort Area Chamber of Commerce. Universal members of the committee also include Rhonda Rhodes, a vice president of human resources who served on the county task force as well, Russ Dagan, who is the senior vice president of resort development, and Rob Herrick, who is a senior planning manager. The Housing for Tomorrow initiative has just issued a request for qualifications, inviting developers who specialize in affordable housing to express their interest in developing this particular community, and expects to select a final candidate by the first quarter of 2021. The group launched its website today about the initiative. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about that and get some more information, you can check it out as well at housingfortomorrow.com. We're going to take another commercial break and we're going to come back with your business and sports stories. So stay tuned for that.
You need time to stand still or get up and go. You need to unplug or to reconnect with those who matter most. You need to kick back, to dive in, to have your moment in the sun. You need a palace to lift your spirits, to taste the finer things. You need room to feed your soul, to remember why you travel. You need Lowe's. The legendary Lowe's Don Cesar Hotel, St. Pete Beach. The room you need.
All right, guys, welcome back to the evening news rundown. In our business story, Amazon released a recent report stating that nearly 20,000 of its U.S. workers had tested positive for COVID-19. The U.S. employees account for 1.44% of its total workforce. So that includes Whole Foods, and these are people who have either tested positive or have been presumed positive for COVID-19. The data covers 1.37 million employees from March 1st to September 19th of this year. The details were released in a blog post late Thursday, along with plans to boost daily tests to 50,000 across 650 sites by November in an effort to keep frontline employees safe. The company, which is of course founded by billionaire Jeff Bezos, disclosed that the cases were 42% lower than its expected estimate of nearly 34,000 cases, which the company noted is based on if the rate of infection among employees were as bad as the general population. Amazon said, quote, "This information would be more powerful if there was similar data from other major employers to compare it to. We hope sharing this data and our learnings will encourage others to follow and will prove useful as states make decisions about reopening public facilities and employers consider whether and how to bring their people back to work." So very interesting. We will continue to keep you guys apprised of what's going on next with that. As always, stay tuned here at FloridaNationalNews.com for more details. Now, jumping into our sports story, or one of our sports story today, we have two of them for you. But in our first sports story, the U.S. Olympic Reform Bill is now ready for the president's signature. Interesting timing, given that the president has now tested positive for COVID-19, so that signature might take a while before it gets passed into law, if it gets passed into law. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update about that. Legislation that will trigger a massive overhaul of the U.S. Olympic system, offering athletes greater protection and more input into decision-making, was unanimously passed by the House of Representatives on Thursday and sent to the White House for President Trump's signature. Now, arising from the Larry Nassar gymnastics sex abuse scandal, the Empowering Olympic, Paralympic, and Amateur Athletes Act calls for increased funding for the U.S. Center for Safe Sport and more athlete representation on the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, that's the USOPC board, and sport national governing bodies. If both fail to follow up on reforms, new mechanisms would be in place to allow Congress to dissolve the USOPC and decertify the NGBs, the sport national governing bodies. Now, the bill was introduced by Republican Senator Jerry Moran and Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal, and this followed the 18-month investigation that found Nassar, the former team doctor for USA Gymnastics, was able to assault hundreds of girls and women because of the lack of transparency and accountability among U.S. Olympic officials, coaches, and trainers. So Senators Moran and Blumenthal said in a joint statement, quote, "The very institutions charged with protecting these athletes failed countless times, choosing to ignore or cover up abuse rather than defend and protect athletes and survivors." Today, the House passed our Olympic reform legislation, advancing critical changes and effective safeguards to protect our Olympic, Paralympic, and amateur athletes. Now, in addition, the bill also calls for the creation of a commission to study broader issues within the Olympic and Paralympic movements. Now, following recommendations from an independent report, the USOPC began last year to introduce the first wave of reforms, including increased athlete representation. So, some good news there. Now, jumping into our other sports story, we wanted to make sure to kind of close the loop on those NFL teams, those games that had been postponed after the Tennessee Titans organization reported a small outbreak there. So the NFL announced the dates for those games that have been postponed. So according to the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers at Tennessee Titans game, originally scheduled for week 4, which is this coming Sunday, October 4th, has been rescheduled for week 7 on Sunday, October 25th at 1 p.m., which will be aired on CBS. The Pittsburgh Steelers at Baltimore Ravens game will move from week 7, which is October 25th, to week 8 on Sunday, November 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. The Steelers and Titans now have a bye week here in week 4. So this coming Sunday is going to be the bye week for both teams. And the Ravens bye week, which was originally set for week 8, will now be moved up to week 7. So we want to make sure to kind of close that loop for you guys, give you the update that you need on that. Now we're going to take a final commercial break and we're going to come back with your entertainment story. So please stay tuned.
There's more than one way to enjoy a Moreno Bakery custom cake. You could smash it, swipe it, love it, cut it, devour it. Moreno Bakery, for every slice of life.
All right, guys, welcome back as we wrap up with your entertainment story. Actor Mark Wahlberg has teamed up with another lifestyle brand to donate 1.3 million face masks to schools all across the country, including here in Lakeland, Florida as well. So great news for the schools that were here in Lakeland that were beneficiaries of his donation. But his particular lifestyle brand, his activewear brand, Performance Inspired, had partnered with active lifestyle brand Life to Go to donate those 1.3 million disposable face masks. And these are 3-ply masks, so very strong masks. Now, some areas have already received the donated masks, including some students and teachers here in Lakeland, according to a press release. Other places where donated masks have been received include Bentonville, Arkansas, Boise, Idaho, Chicago, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Portland, Oregon, Quincy, Massachusetts, Rochester, New York, Salisbury, North Carolina, San Antonio, Texas, and Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Interesting name for a place there. So congratulations to those particular cities for receiving those. Wahlberg said in a recent video, quote, "This has been a year of change and stress for everybody. But today I want to thank our essential workers. You guys have kept us healthy, safe, and supplied us with all of the necessities. Every day brings a new challenge, but we continue to pray for you and your families. And please know that your efforts are much appreciated." Well, Mr. Wahlberg, your donation is also appreciated on behalf of the schools as well. And that does it here for us at the Evening News Rundown, guys. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. You'll find us at Florida National News on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And on YouTube, make sure not only to hit subscribe, but also click the little bell icon to receive all the notifications for all of our shows. Hopefully you tune in live for Jenny Rosario de Casiano's Entertainment Buzz interview earlier today. If not, you can catch it on YouTube and on our Facebook page. The replay is available in both places. And of course, Casey Hudson should be by tonight with the FNN Sports Take for you guys for all the detailed sports updates and all the stats. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great Friday and a great weekend as well. Take care and continue to stay safe.